Hello, today I will be talking about the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle is a regular, recurring change in the endometrium every roughly 28 days that ends with menstrual bleeding. This cycle begins with the hypothalamus secreting GnRH, which has an effect on the anterior pituitary gland to secrete FSH and LH. Um, This causes the follicle to begin maturing. The granulosa cells of the follicle produce and secrete estrogens, which thicken the endometrium of the uterus, as you can see in the graphic down at the bottom, and maintain secondary sex traits. In this time, the estrogen is inhibiting the anterior pituitary gland from secreting LH and FSH. Um, Up until around the 14th day, when the anterior pituitary gland finally responds to GnRH and releases a surge of luteinizing hormone, which interacts with FSH, progesterone, prostaglandins, plasmin, and proteolytic enzymes, leading to ovulation, which you can see in the ovarian events at the top of the graphic. Um, the corpus luteum, which secreted the egg, remains and secretes estrogens and progesterone in the secretory phase. Um, Estrogen stimulates the uterine wall to develop, which we're going to go right back down to the thickness of the endometrium. And then progesterone stimulates the endometrium to become more glandular. Both continue to inhibit the secretion of FSH and LH from the anterior pituitary gland. We're now in the luteal phase of the ovarian events and the secretory phase of the uteral phase. So, one of two things will happen here. So, if there is no pregnancy, as shown here in the graphic, progesterone levels and estrogen begin to dramatically fall off as the corpus luteum begins to degenerate uh, and eventually becomes a corpus albicans. Once the body stops producing estrogens and progesterone, um, the anterior pituitary gland is no longer inhibited and again begins to secrete the follicle stimulating hormones and the luteinizing hormones, um, thus beginning the menstrual cycle. Um, During all of this, the endometrial lining of the uterus begins to degenerate and eventually slough off. This is what begins the menstruation cycle. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and like that button if you want to see more of these. Thanks.